They thought they could steal my life after the crash. They messed with the wrong woman. I'm Emily. And let me tell you, you're about to hear a story that will make your blood boil. At 25, I was sleepwalking through life with my boyfriend, Mike. Sleepwalking is truly the best way to put it. We'd been together since college, and our relationship was more about comfortable routine than burning passion. Arguments over stupid things like laundry were constant and just so tiring. My parents, Sue and George, were the golden standard. Married for over 30 years. Their love was a warm, unbreakable bond. They were my safe place and the kind of marriage I hoped to have. If not with Mike, then someone. The evening of the accident, we were bickering again. Some little thing, some insignificant frustration about his failure to follow through was all that was necessary for a huge fight. I don't even remember what it was now. I was in the back of my parents' car. The argument with Mike still prickling under my skin. The only safe place I knew, and then the world exploded. Headlights. Screeching metal. And then nothing. I woke up in a sterile hospital room. The rhythmic beeping of machines, my new soundtrack. And then came the crushing news: my parents were gone. And I might never walk again. Mike, the guy I'd been fighting with over laundry, he was now my only lifeline to the life I knew. The weight of my parents' absence, coupled with the fear of paralysis, was suffocating. The future I had imagined crumbling into dust. The hours in that hospital room were excruciating. I felt a weight on me that I could barely handle. Then, Mike walked in. His parents, Janet and Bob, trailing behind him. The air crackled with a heavy, expectant silence that tightened my chest. Mike pulled up a chair, took my hand, and his voice was rough with emotion. "Emily," he began, "I've been doing some thinking. This whole thing, it's made me see how short life can be. I don't want to wait anymore." He squeezed my hand tighter. "What I'm trying to say is, will you marry me?" The question hung in the air. A massive, unexpected weight. Marriage. Now. I searched his face, trying to find the impulsive Mike I knew. But all I saw was what I thought was genuine sincerity. His mother, Janet, stepped forward, her eyes glistening. "We want you to be part of our family." Emily. My mind was spinning. It seemed like a lifeline, albeit a reckless one. I looked at Mike, and for a moment I didn't see the guy I spent my nights fighting with, but someone offering support during the worst time of my life. "Mike, I don't know what the future holds for me, for us. But, yes." I choked out, the word feeling stronger than I felt. "Yes, I'll marry you." Janet gasped, tears welling in her eyes. Moving into my parents' house with Mike should have been a fresh start, a new chapter. Instead, it was a constant reminder of what I had lost. The house was huge and so empty, and his presence, instead of bringing me comfort, emphasized the void. At first, he was attentive, always checking on me, making sure I was comfortable. But that soon faded. He retreated into his computer, headphones clamped on, shutting me out. One evening, I found him staring blankly at his screen. "Mike, have you thought about looking for a new job?" I asked, the words laced with anxiety. "The insurance won't cover everything," he snapped. "That's my job. I can take care of you during the day." Pushing back the fear, I said I can take care of myself during the day. You don't need to be here all the time. Finally, he turned to face me, his expression a cold mix of irritation and something else I couldn't decipher. Being physically here isn't the same as being present. I needed a partner, not just someone to take care of me like a toddler. He glared at me, then stood up abruptly, his chair scraping against the tile. "You know what? Maybe I need more than this, too." He turned and stormed out, slamming the door behind him, leaving me alone in the cold silence of the kitchen. Lying in bed that night, the honeymoon period felt like a distant memory. The vows we had taken seemed empty, meaningless. In sickness and in health, it felt like a cruel joke. His absences grew longer, either lost in his digital world or out with friends. I felt like an obstacle in his life, a burden he hadn't anticipated. One day, as the pain was particularly bad, and the house felt more like a mausoleum, I heard the front door open. "Just grabbing a few things," he said, heading out again. "I need some space." "Okay." It's not easy for me either. All this. I nodded, biting back tears. "I just thought we could maybe spend some time together. Like we used to." He just shrugged, leaving me alone. A vast space filled with silence and the ghosts of better times. Then things started to disappear. A silver frame holding a family photo. A painting that used to hang in the hallway. I noticed it when I was trying to find a distraction. Some comfort. So I wheeled myself into the living room, intending to look through the photo albums. But my eyes fell on the bare patch of wall where the painting had hung. "Have you seen the landscape painting that used to be in the hallway?" I asked. He barely glanced up from his phone. "Oh, that old thing. Yeah. It was getting dusty. I figured we could use the space for something else." His casual dismissal sent a chill down my spine. But it was my mom's favorite. A sliver of unease crept into my voice. "We can get another painting. It's no big deal." But it was a big deal. It was more than just a painting. The items that went missing next were unmistakable things that had been in my family for years. One afternoon, I caught Janet, Mike's mom, in the living room, carefully wrapping a porcelain doll that had belonged to my grandmother. "Janet, what are you doing?" My voice was sharp with alarm. She jumped, a guilty look flashing across her face. "Oh, just some spring cleaning. Dear, this place is cluttered with so many old things." "But those are my things," I protested, my heart racing. "We're just making things nicer for you." I watched her like a hawk every time she visited after that. Her tactics became sneakier, and every time I confronted them, I was met with reassurances that it was all in my best interest. One night, lying in bed, I turned to Mike, who was scrolling through his phone. As always, "Mike, your parents have been taking things from the house." He didn't even look up. "What?" "Mom's just trying to help. You know, she's got a knack for this stuff." "Help?" "By taking my parents' belongings." He finally set his phone down and turned to face me. Annoyance etched on his face. "They think we should be looking forward, not backward. They're just trying to take some of the load off you." I wanted to scream, to rage against the violation, the disrespect. But I was too tired. "This isn't what I want," I whispered, the fight draining out of me. He scoffed, patting my hand in a way that felt more patronizing than comforting. "Things will look better in the morning." I couldn't take it anymore. I confided in Anna, my closest friend and massage therapist, who had been helping with my rehab. "Anna, things are going missing around the house, and I can't shake the feeling that Mike and his parents are behind it." Anna paused, her hands still on my shoulders. "Have you talked to Mike about this?" "I have," I said. "But he just brushes it off. Says his parents are helping us by decluttering." I let out a hollow laugh. "But it's only my family's things that are disappearing. That doesn't sound right." "Emily." I felt a plan forming, so I asked Anna to help me. With a nod, she said I'll bring something over tomorrow. And that's what she did. A few days later, Anna returned with the recordings, and we sat down to listen. The voices of Mike and his parents filled the room, and the blood in my veins turned to ice as their scheme unfolded. Through their casual conversation, their cruel plot was revealed to me in all of its horribleness. "Once we get her committed," Mike's voice clear and cold. "Yeah. The place will sell for a fortune and all those antiques. It's pure profit." Janet said, We just need to make sure Emily doesn't catch on before we have everything in place. Tears streamed down my face as I listened to their betrayal. These people, who had promised to care for me, were plotting against me. We have to do something, Anna said, her voice laced with anger. I wiped my eyes, the sorrow quickly giving way to a steely resolve. We will. I'm not going to let them get away with this. The morning after listening to the recordings, I tried to act normal, but every smile they gave felt like a lie. It was during breakfast when I noticed something was off. The usual noise of the city, that drifted in through the open window, was gone. I wheeled myself over to see what was happening, only to find that the ramps that allowed me access to the garden were gone. Where are the ramps? I called out, my voice laced with panic. He came into the room feigning ignorance. The ramps. I thought they needed fixing. And you didn't think to tell me. How am I supposed to get around? His gaze was evasive as he shrugged. I just thought you'd be safer inside for now. You know, until we get new ones. The room felt like it was spinning. Trapped, the word slipped out before I could stop it. He didn't respond, just turned and walked away, leaving me stewing in a mix of anger and helplessness. Later, when I asked Janet, we're just looking out for you, dear. We wouldn't want you to have an accident, she said, touching my shoulder with false tenderness. I didn't realize needing ramps qualified as a hazard. One replied. Janet's eyes hardened for a moment before she regained her composure. We're just trying to help, Emily. It's for the best. That night, as I lay in bed, the darkness felt oppressive, almost like it was drowning me. Mike didn't come home. I reached for my phone, the screen a small beacon in the dark, and dialed the number Anna had given me for emergencies. Anna, I whispered when she picked up. I'm literally trapped in my own home. She said I'm going to make some calls. We're going to sort this out. The next day, I was in the kitchen when I heard the doorbell. My heart pounded as I wheeled myself towards the entrance. It was Anna, flanked by a man and woman wearing crisp suits and stern expressions. They were from a local disability rights organization here to assess my living situation. Beside them was my lawyer, Mr. Hammond, clutching a leather briefcase. Emily, we're here to make things right, Anna said. Mr. Hammond stepped forward. We need to establish the facts first. Emily, I'll need to see the house. Check against the inventory of your parents' belongings. The representatives from the service took notes and the blatant disregard for my welfare. Mike walked in during the commotion. What's going on? Who are these people? I looked at him, allowing the full weight of my gaze to settle on his shoulders. I'm taking back control. Mike, this is my lawyer. And these are advocates for people with disabilities. Janet and Bob entered the fray, their confusion turning to fear as they realized the seriousness of the situation. Emily, darling, what is this about? Janet's voice trembled. I said, my voice steady despite the storm raging inside. Mr. Hammond is here to confirm the inventory of my inheritance. Mr. Hammond opened his briefcase, pulling out documents and photographs. We have detailed records of all items bequeathed to Mrs. Harper. It seems several are missing. Bob's face paled. Emily, I'm sure this is all just a misunderstanding. There's no misunderstanding. And I have more than just missing items to discuss. Mike's parents looked at each other, the facade of caring in-laws crumbling before my eyes. Then, Mike got scared, realized the reality of the situation and moved closer to me. We also have evidence of the conversations you've had regarding Emily's property and well-being. The advocates from the Disability Service spoke up. Removing access to the ramps is a direct violation of Mrs. Harper's rights. We will be taking action. As Mr. Hammond laid out the evidence of their theft and their plans for my future, I saw the trap I had been in from the outside. I was no longer the victim in their game. I was the one calling the shots. Emily? I can explain, Bob said. But I shook my head. Janet started to cry, and Bob put an arm around her. The day of the trial was a culmination of everything I had endured. The courtroom was stark, the air thick with tension. Mike and his parents were on one side, looking nothing like the family that had once promised to care for me. I was on the other, with Anna beside me. As the proceedings began, the judge looked down at us from his bench. We are here to examine the evidence regarding the allegations of the estate of Emily Harper, he said. Mr. Hammond presented the recordings, the inventory discrepancies, and testimonies from the disability advocates. The evidence was damning. The unraveling of their scheme. We never meant for things to go this far, Janet said. You took advantage of a vulnerable person, Mr. Hammond replied. There's no excuse for your actions, Mike said, his voice barely audible. I'm sorry, Emily. I never wanted to hurt you. Flashbacks of my parents played before my eyes. You chose this path. The gavel came down like the final word on the life I had once known. Mike and his parents were found guilty and forbidden from having any further contact with me. With the help of Anna and a dedicated team, I started physical therapy. Each small movement was a victory, as my legs, once lifeless, began to tingle with new strength. One day, as I managed to stand with the help of parallel bars, the smile on my face was mirrored in hers. I'm walking, I stuttered. The joy bubbled up from a place I thought had been broken beyond repair. And so I moved forward, one day at a time. The house, once a mausoleum of my past life, was slowly transformed back into a home, a sanctuary where I healed and grew stronger. So, Reddit, after everything you've heard, do you think I handled this situation the right way? What would you have done differently? I'm really interested to hear your opinions and get some perspective on this whole crazy experience. So please let me know what you think I could have done better or what I did that resonated with you.